The PA Empowerment Network is a game changer, uniting individuals with shared goals to support and uplift each other, providing resources, mentorship, and a sense of community. Empowering people means giving them the tools and confidence to thrive and create positive change in their lives and communities.
Oh, good evening and welcome to the Politics. That's with Stevenson and Yates. So we hope that you guys tune in. And if you do, don't forget to push the like button and the subscribe button because we could always use that in our in this line of work anyway. Brother Yates, so I asked you how your weekend was, and you said it was pretty good, but we got into a conversation about AI. And I thought that
Hmm.
was pretty good. I know we're going to get into some other stuff that's dealing with politics, but this is kind of along the same line as the politics as to how people feel about a particular thing, like AI. A lot of people today, I believe, are afraid of what's coming down the pipe with AI. But as usual, we always start this show off by saying either a prayer or saying something that we're grateful for. So as always, like last week, I had to give a prayer for my niece, and she still is not in good condition. And I like to also give a prayer to my brother Malcolm Jamal Warner. He just passed away. So I like to, I thought he was a pretty good actor, and I enjoyed him on the Cosby Show, and I enjoyed him on a couple other shows, and so just want to give that out. Again, how was your weekend?
Ashe.
Ashe, brother, Ashe.
My weekend was good. I mean, as usual, it goes by so quickly.
Hmm.
But when you're retired, pretty much every day is kind of like a weekend, right?
Yeah, every day is Saturday. That's what I say. Every
Hmm.
day is Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So about this AI, I was pretty much telling you, I can't say that there's things that you shouldn't be afraid of. But more or less, it's the human aspect of the AI that I'm more afraid of. Not so much as the technology, because I was telling you that there are a lot of good uses with the AI technology. Even now, a lot of artists are using them, and I see what my son does. He's creating these different comic books and things that they use in AI. So AI can be utilized for a number of different things. As far as the control is concerned, I, I just don't think that the programmers are going to allow a machine to write programs for itself that would make changes like humans are bad and we need to get rid of humans. I just don't think
Y-
that's going to happen.
You know something? With all technology, the government always looks for the military application.
Hmm.
So even with some viruses, right? The military looks at the military implications. Can we use this to our advantage? Same thing with AI. In San Francisco, they wanted to put a RoboCop out onto the street. The people of San Francisco said, hell no. It's bad enough dealing with some of these police officers that are out of control. How do you explain yourself to an artificial intelligent police officer?
Uh,
What judgment or leeway does this robot have? And when does it? There's no empathy. There's no human emotion. So at what point does this thing decide to pull out a gun and fire?
well,
People have bad judgment. So if the people with bad judgment are programming this RoboCop, well, what do you expect from the RoboCop?
but I think we're talking actual science and then science fiction. We haven't gotten to the technology yet to actually build the robots that can do the things like RoboCop per
That
se.
we know of, right? See,
Uh,
everything that that is comes out, all the new technology, the military implications are looked at first. Now we have nuclear technology, we have nuclear reactors, right, to provide supposedly clean and cheap energy.
mhm.
But we also have nuclear bombs that'll kill everybody on this planet. So
Again,
while it has a positive impact on humanity, there's also the negative impact of it.
and again,
And
that's a human. That's human. That's the human part of it. The
well,
technology
that's
part of it.
why,
You
but
say
that's
we
why
could
I
utilize
said,
it for clean, right? We could use it for clean energy, and we could use
right.
even AI to do these positive things. The negative part of it comes from the human intervention.
Well, that's why I said the military looks at the military applications, right?
Mhm.
So, do you know that just the other day, I think there's 4 or 5 people from Silicon Valley who are, these giants in the field of artificial intelligence. They were just commissioned as officers.
Mm.
They are now lieutenant colonels in the military. No West Point, no ROTC, but they are now commissioned officers in the U.S. Army. These folks are the ones that are behind this AI technology. Now, why would they be in the Army? So when you
Because they want
talk
to utilize it
about,
for military technique. They want to utilize it for
well,
military
that's my
applications.
point. The
I don't
military
disagree.
application. And that is where the danger comes in
Hmm.
because a lot of these folks have been trying for years to get an edge on, say, Russia, an edge on China. And if the leadership in Washington is on board, they will launch a preemptive strike. We just
Hmm.
did it. Israel just did it in Iran. And next thing you know, we're bombing away in Iran.
Hmm.
So, while there are some positive things that AI can do, right, there's also a great deal of negative that can be done. Just think about the
Right, right.
job losses, right? Right now, there are 2 pilots in the cockpit. If the AI technology is developed, now you can go down to 1 pilot or no pilots. A lot of the transit systems, there's nobody driving a train anymore. This is all computer or AI. You come into Pennsylvania, you go through the toll booth, there's nobody there anymore. All of those toll booths once had a human being that collected a toll. You go
Hmm.
to the supermarket, there may be one in a place like Walmart that might have 30 registers, there may be 2 open. Everything
Hmm.
else is self checkout. So all of those registers were once operated by human beings. You don't need them anymore.
Well, this is what I could say. We've had technology, and we've always been evolving constantly, constantly, constantly. And businesses have always looked for ways to reduce manpower, if you want to say. So they say the machines work 24 hours a day. They don't need a vacation. They don't need to go to sleep. But what you do need now is you need technicians to keep those machines running. So when you lost one job, you kind of actually added on another. But the bad part is that you may have lost 2 jobs or 3 jobs to gain the one job, because you're going
Right.
to have somebody that's got to program them, and then you got to have somebody that's going to have to maintain the machinery. So,
Well, I'll tell you something, right? Talking about AI kind of segues into something I wanted to bring up, and
mhm.
that's this whole notion of illegal migrant workers, right?
Mm,
Okay. So I saw an interview the other day. Martha Raddatz was interviewing the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, and she kept referring to illegal migrant workers. And I
mm,
had to stop and think for a second. And I looked up the definition of a migrant worker or illegal migrant worker. Well, by definition, the black people that were brought here and enslaved were illegal migrant workers because we didn't have documentation. We didn't have a passport, didn't have a visa, did not go through the citizenship process. Yet, who was complaining then? Who said end this grotesque practice of slavery and send these people back to their homes?
mm.
The cry
Well,
then was, oh, send more because we need more of them to go out and build these plantations, harvest these crops, make us wealthy. After slavery ended, well, even before slavery ended, when they started to, um, when technology came online, like the cotton gin, well,
mhm.
we don't need as many now, do we? By the time chattel slavery ended in this country, there was talk amongst the leadership in this country. What are we going to do with 10 to 12 million black people that no longer serve us as our slaves? What do we do with them? Some people said send them back. So some went back to Africa and started the country of Liberia.
Mhm.
But what about the others? They say that in this country, we all are created equally.
Oh,
Created equally, but what about
we're not,
equal justice?
all right. We're not treated equally. Let's just put it
Right.
that way.
So what about the equal justice? Where was the justice when after slavery there was terror? We were terrorized.
Well,
There was
just like,
lynching. There was murders. There was rape.
all right.
Where was the justice?
But it's just like the migrants now today. They treat them the same way. They say that they're illegal. Right away, they label them as criminals and thugs and,
Hmm.
murderers. And we got to get these people out of our country, not realizing that a good majority of our taxes are being paid by those migrants, not realizing that the majority of our crops and our agriculture is being run by the migrants. So the migrants are actually needed in this country, just like when they did with the slaves. The slaves were a means of profit. It was about making money, and you got free labor. So that's pretty much
And,
what slavery was about, and that's pretty
and
much
it's
what
the
they can't do with the migrants now.
and it's the same argument today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing changes. There's nothing new under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So years ago, when we began to bring in migrant workers, when people didn't want to go out and work on the farms, didn't want to be domestics in places like hotels, didn't want to work as nurses' aides and those fields. We welcome the migrants.
Mm-hmm.
Now that American jobs have been sent overseas, not by the migrants, but by American corporations. Now that America is not producing jobs like, well, we used to make cars in Detroit, Motown. Generations of people from Michigan had a stable middle class lifestyle. But then they said, we're going to close these factories down and send them to Mexico, send them to Canada. Detroit became a wasteland. So did Flint.
Mm.
So did many cities in Michigan, all because of the loss of the auto industry. It wasn't the Chinese, it wasn't migrants, it was American businessmen. But what they skillfully do is they shift the blame. Oh, it's not us, it's the Chinese. It's not us, it's the blacks. It's not us, it's the migrants.
Mm-hmm.
People in this country are saying, we want our country back. Well, first of all, I'm not sure who gave it to them
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not sure. I haven't seen where God entered into a contract with anybody to take control of any region of this planet, right?
Right.
But they say they want their country back. But who took it from them?
You know what they want to do. When they say they want their country back, they're talking about bringing it back to a particular time period as to when it was pretty much all white rule and nobody had any other justice. And this is before Roe versus Wade. This is before the Board of Education. This is before. That's what they want to roll it back to, so that we have the rich, and I'm going to say the wealthy and the rich white men who will be in control of everything. At one time, remember, you weren't allowed to vote. I wasn't allowed to vote. Women weren't allowed to vote. The only people that could vote was the rich landowners. So
Right.
this is why they want to have all this money and everything go back to these rich people. You see, that's what the tariffs and all of that stuff. All of that stuff is so that we can make the rich wealthier, and that's been going on even since slavery, man.
That's what I'm saying. The argument is the same, right? This is what has been happening in this country since the importation of Africans into the United States, or what would become the United States. You know what I mean? We
Mhm.
bring you in, we work you to death, you make us rich, and then when technology is developed, we don't need you anymore.
Mm.
When the economy that American businessmen and the politicians have squandered, now all of a sudden we decide we're going to send the jobs overseas. We're going to make more money. We're going to boost profits. To hell with the people that have been loyal. To hell with the taxpayers. This big, beautiful bill, let's be realistic. How many members of Congress actually read the damn thing?
That was another thing that killed me, man. I was watching the news and listening to these Republicans, and a lot of them were saying that they signed the bill. They hadn't even read it yet. And then
Right.
even after they read the bill, a lot of them were against it. We don't want it. We don't want. But then they turn around and they still voted to have that bill passed. And
hmm
now that that bill is passed, we're going to see 2025, that project 2025. We're really going to see it come to life. We're going to see it
Well,
come to fruition. He gave more
Well,
money to ICE, so we're gonna have more people patrolling the streets and so forth with these ICE agents. We'll probably see more National Guard being deployed in different parts of the country right as soon as people start to not agree with what his policies and what he's doing, and they'll start to protest. So we'll see more military style people out there in the street. He's already arming the police department with more weapons, more weaponry, more money. Everything that he's doing is about control. Utilizing the
well,
military to control us as Americans, because that'll turn into martial law. And utilizing the
well,
tariffs and everything else to try to do it with China. Go ahead, brother.
well. The other day, I think what yesterday, the day before, the principal author of the Project 2025 passed away, Mr. Fulner.
Mm-hmm.
What a shame.
Oh,
But he passed away.
karma.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so as it relates to Project 2025, most of the agenda that was put forward by Project 2025, the authors of this particular document, most of that agenda has already been enacted,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think there's only a handful of things left that they want before they move on to the next phase.
Mm.
And the ultimate goal of Project 2025 is to Christianize first America and then the rest of the world, but not the Christianity that was practiced by, say, when Jesus wasn't Christian at all, but not the Christianity practiced by the early Christians. No, this is a new form of Christianity.
Mm.
See, years ago, you would just say, look, I'm a Christian. Nowadays, you have to be an evangelical. So I think that's like a Christian on steroids,
Mm.
right? You have to go above and beyond. But as an evangelical now, basically, you are God's co partner or co pilot. You get to decide how people should live. You get to decide if a woman or even a girl is raped. You get to decide if she's going to keep that baby to full term or if she's going to be allowed to terminate it.
Mm.
You get to decide if people are going to be sent out of this country and put into some hellhole because you say illegal. Now, as it relates to illegal, right? Who's illegal in this country? Well, according to the law, if you enter this country, you are undocumented. You are illegal.
Mm.
When Europeans came here, when Europe emptied out their jails and sent them to America, did they have a visa? Did they have a passport? Did they go through any citizenship process?
Well, did those things exist? No.
They did. They did.
Mm.
Right? Let's let's look at it like this, right?
You know what? Let me bring you back on the other side. Let's hold tight.
Mhm.
We got to stay tuned for a commercial, from Willie Mae. So
Mhm.
here we go.
Hi, we're Chantel Davis and Brian Davis. We own Willie Mae's Place and Legacy Lines Winery, located in Gilbert, Pennsylvania. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner and wine flights and really delicious Southern comfort food. Come and join us. We'll happily seat you, your family. We have a beautiful farm-to-table garden as well as 2 therapy donkeys named Freedom and Friar Tuck that you're welcome to come and visit. Give us a call if you have any questions or would like to make a reservation, and we look forward to seeing you.
All right, now back to this migrant situation. I'm sorry, but have you gone to Willie Mae's yet?
I haven't, but we had talked about going there doing the show from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But getting back to when the Europeans came here, so the idea of having a passport and having a visa, no, that didn't exist at that time simply because the people, 3/4 of the planet, recognize that, listen, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. We don't control who can come here and who can stay here. People would move from one place to the other. If you were somebody who was, say, a rancher, you would go and move your cattle where there was fertile grasslands, where there was water. There were no artificial barriers known as borders. When the Europeans came, when they emptied out the jails and told them to go to America, when they came here, all of a sudden now, wherever they went and planted their flag, this is now ours.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who lived there for centuries, well, now you have to go. Out on the West Coast, Arizona, California, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, and Texas were all part of Mexico. We took that in the Mexican-American War. And now we're telling the people, now you got to get out. You got to go back to where you came from. This is where I came from, dummy. Yes, it was part of Mexico. So Mexicans have been in California, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas. And, they've been there for centuries. And now you're telling me to go back to Mexico? Well, let's just carve out these 6 states that were ours and give them back.
Well, they want to send them to El Salvador and other prisons. They want to send them to Alcatraz. What is it? Alligator Alcatraz. That's where they want to send these people to now. But yeah, I get the gist of what you're saying, man. But this country is cruel. This country, just like the with the people down in Gaza, you see what they're doing to those people right now. Or is it malnutrition that they're dying of? And I think that's a shame the way that these people are being treated. I mean, okay, we got a war. I got you. We're going to war. You're my enemy. I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna take you out quick as I can. But once I've taken out all of the soldiers, now I'm going in there killing all the civilians too. Now,
but there was no war, right? Let's be realistic. Israel has the most advanced, best equipped
weaponry,
intelligence apparatus in all of that region known as the Middle East, which is really just Northeast Africa. And yet they did not see a buildup of troops and war material and movement in and out of Gaza. Do you know they have spies in Gaza? They have spies all over the region, and yet nobody saw this buildup. Listen, I do believe, and I'll continue to believe, that this whole thing was orchestrated and planned by Israel in order to use it as a pretext to take all of Palestine, Gaza, the West Bank, to take Syria, because they're bombing Syria the other day. They want to take Iran. They want to take this and make it all part of greater Israel. This is not a new plan. It's been going on for years. But now, with Trump in his first administration, he moved the capital from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And now, basically, the world is looking the other way while Israel systematically slaughters the people of Palestine.
Since we're talking about that, let me just let everybody else know what we're talking about. So this was a situation that took place. I think it was yesterday. We got it on the news, but we're gonna let you hear about it.
In Gaza continues to rise. The health ministry there says on Sunday hospitals received the remains of 51 people killed in Israeli strikes over the weekend. That brings the total death toll since the Israel-Hamas war began to more than 52,000 people.
This comes as the humanitarian situation in the enclave continues to deteriorate. According to the UN, the World Food Program has run out of food in Gaza as Israel's blockade remains in place. Israeli ground forces are continuing their offensive, expanding what they're calling this buffer zone in the enclave as aid supplies do rapidly.
The aid supplies rapidly, they're running out of supplies. But here's the thing. So in this country, when it was Biden, and I really hate to keep going back to the past of Biden, but this country was in uproar. It was genocide Joe. They're killing all of these people. So that actually didn't stop. It's actually kind of increased since Trump has been in office. Now, I was listening to a news radio today. I'm always listening to the news, and Trump was having an interview, and it was with the Philippines. He made everything about him, Obama, and Biden. But remember, this is the president of the Philippines who's coming over. You get what I'm saying? They're supposed to be the delegates and whatnot. But everything that came out of this man's mouth was Obama, or constantly pointing fingers and blaming. So now he's trying to say that Obama was a terrorist or a traitor to the country, and they want to start some kind of investigation on Obama. I mean, it's getting ridiculous, man. When was Obama president? What was it, 2014, 15, some shit like that, man? Come on, 16, 17 years ago?
He,
Give it
yeah,
a break.
he left office in 16. But you got to understand something. This is all a distraction.
Right.
Trump is in a lot of trouble with this whole Epstein situation, right? Now, here's somebody that said, listen, I'm going to drain the swamp. I am going to hold those people responsible who are the pedophiles, who are harming American children, who are committing these heinous acts against America's youth. I'm going to stop that. Now all of a sudden, if you want to know about the Jeffrey Epstein files, you're stupid people. I no longer need your support if you want to really know the truth. The truth is what I tell you it is. And if you reject that, then I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. Despite this bill, this big BS bill that was signed, despite the Jeffrey Epstein debacle, do you know that Trump's approval rating amongst Republicans is 88 to 90% in favor
Get
of
out of
him?
here. Oh, get out of
Look
here.
it up. Look it
I
up.
can't believe that. I mean, I believe you. I just can't believe these people.
Mhm.
Look, so far since he's been in office, we're talking about not feeding children. We're talking about closing down the Board of Education. The hell with that. The SNAP programs are messing with that. Foreign aid to other countries, we're going to do away with that. Every little thing that has been in place to help us as the regular people down here on the ground, all the social services, they want to do away with all of them. They want to take all the money out of it, and then they want to give all this money to the rich people. So this is all that I've seen that has come out of this administration is a bunch of bullshit. This is the worst administration. I'm 65 years old. This is the worst administration, the worst presidency I have lived through. And I mean, this is worse than Nixon, bro. And Nixon was a trip. Reagan was a trip. Okay, this is like Reagan on steroids. Okay, that's what this is like.
Well, yeah, and you're right. However, for Republican voters, they have, look, what we're dealing with is a cult, right? Trump is a cult-like figure, and his cult members are following him, right? Yes, this bill is going to do an immense amount of harm to them. But even when you present them with facts, what do? Well, you know what? I didn't hear that. I didn't see that. If you play them a clip of Trump talking about, possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, well, you know what? Matter of fact, there was a clip on Facebook the other day when somebody made up some fake statements from Trump. He's talking about putting putting cameras into the ladies' room, stuff like that. And the people, all Republican voters sitting around the table says, well, you know what? All guys have talked like that. It's just locker room talk. He talked about having sex with young girls, including his daughter. And one guy said, oh, he's just complimenting his daughter. So no matter what you say, no matter what they see or hear, they cannot escape the fact that Trump is their man. Trump is going to lead them to something. And he's going to lead them to something, all right. That's for damn sure. They're not going to like it when they get there, but you asked for this.
And the only one that's going to come out clean is probably Trump. He'd be the only one to get away with it. All right, so we talked about the Epstein's file. We touched on a little bit on the immigration. We went into the past, and we talked about a little bit about slavery, and we brought that up in today's time. So next week, I guess we'll pick it up from the Epstein's file, if you like to do that. I think we should pick it up from there because they got to go through still. They got some voting that they still got to go through, and Bondi is not really going to let everything out. She'll probably have everything redacted anyway. If there's anything that concerns Trump, most of all of that would be redacted. So the public is not going to get the real deal anyway.
Well, the problem is this. They're trying to get Ghislaine Maxwell to testify.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get her to testify? It's quite easy. Offer her a deal. The woman's been in jail for what, 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah. Yeah. She's sentenced for 20, something like that. Yeah.
She's sentenced for 20 years. So why not just say, look, we'll let you out with time served if you will testify honestly and openly before Congress. But already the Republicans are trying to block that,
Brother,
just like
if
they
she gets
blocked the
out,
release of the files.
I tell you, if she gets out, she ain't making it to court. If there's some serious things about Trump, I don't believe that woman's gonna make it to court. But we'll pick that up next week on the flip side. Okay, so
Sounds good.
all you guys have been tuning in, thank you very much. Don't forget to hit that subscribers button, the like button. Just let us know how we're doing. If you have anything that you would like us to speak about, any particular thing, leave us a comment. We'll answer your comment. And don't forget, you can always give us a call when we're on the air. You can give us a call. And the telephone number, if we link it right here, it's easy for you to look. It's right down at the bottom. If you look at the banner, you'll see our website that you can tune into, and you see our telephone number that you can tune into. You can give us a call at any time. Remember, this is Real Talk about real people, Stevenson and Yates, and we're talking politics. So, peace.
Peace.